Hey, that's pretty good. Hello to the two people that are probably watching this. I am American Grit. This is the first time I have ever done anything like this, and I just thought that I play a lot of Rimworld and I do a lot of funky stuff, so I wanted to share what I do with the larger community. So for this playthrough, I thought it would be kind of cool to make a copy of myself 3,000 years in the future, drop myself on a Rimworld and see what happens. I am currently recording on my piece of shit laptop, so hopefully when my computer gets to where I am, the videos get a little bit better. So without further ado, let's get into it. Go ahead and start up a new colony. I will be playing Naked Brutality, just because I find the idea of being shot off into space and landing on a planet butt-ass naked absolutely hilarious. Randy Random, Savage, Commitment Mode, because I hate myself. And this is just a personal preference of mine, but I usually like having a little bit more vegetation, a little bit warmer climates. I just really don't feel like not dealing with food. It's just not something I like playing with. I have a mod that allows you to roughly group all the factions together, kind of like nations. I think it's a little bit more realistic. Honestly, the vanilla game never made sense how all of the factions kind of just go everywhere. I think this feels a little bit more realistic. But when I'm looking for somewhere to settle, generally I try to find 1 to 2 different tribes that are relatively close to each other, somewhere on the border, that are friendly to me. Preferably a faction that's a little bit more advanced than a tribe, just because they generally have better stuff to trade. For this playthrough, I'm going to be going for a volcanic field because I've never really done that before, and I thought it would be kind of neat.
That's a spicy meatball!
So I'm going to keep poking around until I find somewhere. And winner, chicken dinner. We got 2 different factions here that are both friendly to me. Volcanic fields. We're around some tropical forest, which isn't the best. Preferably you'd want to be near some roads and make it a little bit easier to travel, but that's okay. We're just going to wing it. Forageability is not that fantastic. But we do have granite, sandstone, and slate. Granite is the best building material. And this screen usually is where you would pick your colonists that you want to go to. But since I'm playing as myself, I am gonna go into Prepare Carefully and try to create myself the best that I can. See you guys on the other side. So, in what has become probably way too personal of an introduction video, here's me. I obviously didn't put my last name for reasons, but yeah, we'll just go ahead and go through it. 25. I was a little bit of a nerd growing up, as evidenced by the fact that I like to make YouTube videos.
Got it!
But I am an officer in the military. That was pretty fitting. The only problem with that is that usually doctoring is disabled. Fortunately, I have a mod that allows me to do it. I just hate doing it for whatever reason. I don't really have an issue with giving first aid, so that's just gonna have to be something that we deal with. But I'm usually pretty industrious. I like doing work. I don't really care what's around me. I'm pretty aesthetic, and if you ask anyone who knows me, I have probably the worst luck out of anyone that you will have ever met in your entire life. I have been in my truck while it's been struck by lightning. I can't make this shit up, people. But anyways, this is always kind of the most awkward part of creating a character that resembles yourself, because you have to figure out how skillful you are at certain things. So I'm going to go through each one of these. I'm in the military, so I'm obviously pretty good at shooting. I gave myself a couple of points in melee because I've never really been in a scrap before, but I used to wrestle in high school. Not really super interested in it. I was actually a professional construction worker at one point, so there's that. I've never been a professional miner, but it's swinging a pickaxe. How hard could it be? Pretty decent at cooking. My dad had a green thumb. I do not. My father has a green thumb. He used to grow tomato plants that had so many tomatoes on them that they would literally sag and touch the ground. And I had a catnip plant that died within a week of me buying it. So there's that. However, I do like that kind of stuff. I do own 2 cats, as you probably guessed from the last thing I said. Not super great with them, but I like them. Crafting, I mean, whatever. It's artistic. Yeah, I think this speaks for itself by the quality of this YouTube video.
My God.
Medical, yeah, I have some basic first aid training for the military, but I mean, you don't know how much that counts for. Social, I'm gonna kind of say the same thing I did earlier. I'm making videos on YouTube for fun. And I mean, I have a college degree, so that's gotta count for something here, but maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, for some reason, I have a lover named Gina. I don't actually have a lover named Gina, but let's just roll with it. And like I said, completely butt-ass naked, dropping down into the world. So this is the volcano field. I was supposed to be going for a minor surgery, you know, a little snip snip. And you wake up and you're rocketing towards the rim world, and you wake up in this hellhole. So let's go ahead and take a little look around and figure out what the hell I'm gonna do here. So I poked around, and there is absolutely no fucking food anywhere on this map. So yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and move. Yeah, so let's go ahead and load up a caravan with absolutely fuck all. Just my naked ass. Yep. Click them, choose route, next tile over, let's go. Yep, I know I'm gonna be hungry. I'm already hungry as it is. Let's get on out of here. Alright, and apparently this next tile that I picked is not a good place to go, because the whole reason why we moved here was for good trading relations with the natives, and yeah, every 15 days we're gonna get a penalty with one of the neighboring factions. So let's go ahead and settle here. And I'm gonna grab some food while I'm here, and then head on over to the next tile, I suppose. In my typical fashion, I completely forgot to record everything that happened.
What, are you retarded?
But basically we made it over here. We made it over a couple of tiles. Fortunately, there was a mostly constructed house already built, so I went ahead and slapped down some wood on it.
It's free real estate.
And this is where I've been living. Little stone and wood shack. Got a little bit of medicine, a little bit of food, and my next step was to be able to actually cook meals, because eating food raw is never a good thing in this game. It's a great way to get food poisoning, especially with how unlucky I am. We have a trade caravan coming in. Not really super hopeful that we'll be able to make any good deals, but we'll see. Also, I got the flu and almost died.
Yeah, I'm a bad bitch. You can't kill me.
So it looks like the trade caravans arrived. Go ahead and see what they have to offer. I did for some reason find a little bit of cloth to trade, and finding food has been relatively easy, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of money.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
But honestly, they really didn't have this is actually something pretty interesting that I noticed. So keep in mind, I'm still completely naked.
These nuts.
And I saw that they don't have any clothes that I can afford, but they do have some socks and some tribal boots that they do have some socks and some tribal boots that I could use, which is actually pretty decent because those items offer additional movement speed. You might have noticed it if you're smart. I honestly couldn't see it when I was playing, but I thought these guys straight up robbed me.
You get nothing! You lose!
I knew I traded with them. I couldn't find any of the gear that they had. I couldn't find any of the money. All my stuff was gone, and I was like, wait, where is everything? So I'm like furiously looking around the map. I try to trade with them again to see if I can find it. Absolutely can't find it. I have no idea where the stuff that I just bought is, and I'm thinking, oh my god, these guys literally just robbed me. But eventually, I'm finally like, hey dummy, this stuff's right here. Go ahead and put all the gear on that I got. I can only imagine what it must look like to see a dude run around with a bow, shoes, and a bunch of tools, and just his wiener flopping around. I don't even want to try to picture that, what that would look like. But yeah, that's me right now. One thing I didn't talk about at all, since my mining skill is so low, my plan, since I had a little bit of steel slag laying around, my plan was to make a medieval times smelter. Basically, it doesn't take any electricity, you just need wood, which as you can tell is in plentiful abundance. I was gonna make that and craft up all the steel slag to avoid having to make a pickaxe just for right now. So I just finished building that up. So the remainder of my day is going to be deconstructing the steel floor that I found over here to get a little bit of steel. I need 80 steel to make a stove. I also have not been able to make anything to chop up chunks into bricks, so I'm just kind of deconstructing all of the local stuff around me to try to build a little bit. That's the remainder of my day. We do have for some reason, another set of merchants coming in. These guys are pirate merchants, but predictably they really don't have a whole lot to trade.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
The next day, this is a whole lot of plant harvesting. Basically, I just chop up some trees, get a little bit more medicine because that's something you always need, get a little bit more food, haul it back to my house. This is something that I always thought was pretty funny. For some reason, even though I'm by myself, I'm able to relax socially. I would like to think that I'm just kind of talking to myself. I don't know how else I would do that, but I mean, if you're by yourself naked on the rim, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So we get another trader, and I've actually been doing a pretty good job finding medicine around me. So I sell a little bit of the medicine off just to try to get a little bit of silver. Leave enough for myself just in case anything happens. And go to sleep. After I'm done selling all that off, I go ahead and cook up the rest of the metal slag that I have, and that gives me just enough steel to go ahead and make myself a stove. So I go ahead and set up my bills. If I have meat, it's something that you want to cook first, just because it usually goes bad. Just because it usually goes bad so much faster than vegetables. So I set up a bill to go ahead and make some fine meals first. And then I go ahead and cook simple meals with just vegetables if that's all I have. So that way I'll always have, or I'll always be fully utilizing the food that I get. And now that I have a stove, it's time to do my first hunt. Other than basically selling scraps of food and medicine that I can scavenge for random pieces of clothing, the only way I'm really going to be able to make clothing for myself is through hunting. So capybaras are usually pretty easy. They don't usually fight back. That's the thing you really want to avoid. Hunting something that can kill you. So even though it's basically a giant rodent, it should make a good meal, and hopefully it'll give me enough for me to make some clothes. So I'm going to haul it back, go ahead and butcher it up. And that is not nearly enough for clothes, so I'm going to have to keep hunting eventually, but in the meantime, you know, having more steel is always a good thing. And I'm going to finish up my day by trying to expand the house a little bit. And in the middle of the night, Lord Randy decided to bless me with a group of huskies. To be perfectly honest, it's probably a lot more huskies than I'll be able to manage on my own. I'm not sure if huskies can feed themselves and go hunting, so that's something I'm going to have to play by ear, because to be perfectly honest, as much as I love animals, I'm butt naked trying to just survive on my own. So we'll see what these huskies can do. You know, I hate saying this, but if times get really desperate, I might have to make some husky stew.
I don't like where this is going.
But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and set up some zones for them, kind of let them play around a little bit, come home, and we'll see what happens. The next morning, we start the day off with a little bit of husky training. I do at least want to keep one or two of them, maybe, just as haulers. Huskies are pretty good about that. They're very easy to train, and they make decent guard dogs. So I'll go ahead and start training one of them up. I'm just gonna kind of let the other ones do what they want. The rest of my day is basically filled with deconstructing. I still need a lot more bricks to keep building my house. It's not too bad just for me, but just in case if I do find someone, I am going to need a little bit more space. I would like a little bit more storage space as well, and a little bit more space for production. You know, I'm eventually going to need a tailoring bench to make clothing if I want it. If I don't want to walk around with my wiener flopping around everywhere, I'm going to need a tailoring bench.
Because of the implication.
And later that day, I spot another capybara. Especially with all of the extra mouths that I have to feed, I'm going to have to do a lot more hunting. And a little bit more light leather never hurt anyone. So, grab the bow, head out and get me some fresh meat. And of course the first thing I do is shoot right at a wall, because why wouldn't I? I stop hunting so I can eat in the middle of pouring rain because God knows why. Shoot it one more time, and as you notice, I'm picking up my arrows as I go along because they're reusable, and I really don't feel like making more. But third shot downs it. Walk over, finishing off. Successful hunt. The Huskies might live to see one more day. The remainder of my day is trying to find a little bit more vegetables for myself. I think the Huskies have plenty of food for right now, but as you can see, meat goes bad pretty quickly. So the Huskies and I will be sharing the meat for right now, and I would like to at least get a little bit of a reservoir of food so that I'm not hurting every day. This was not an easy choice, but again, it's been kind of a struggle. It's been kind of a struggle to feed them. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I had to I hate, I really hate when dogs get hurt in anything. So this is a really tough choice for me, but it's just too much to feed this husky, so I had to butcher it. Felt really bad about it, but we're down to 3 huskies now. Continue with my harvesting. Cook up a couple more meals for myself and the Huskies, mostly for myself. And continue harvesting. I'm finally done deconstructing the other small base that I found, which should give me enough materials to go ahead and finish up the renovations to my small house. Midway through, I do realize I run out of wood, so I have to cut a couple trees down to refill it. Because I'm naked, I don't have anything to protect me. As you can see on the side, it gets pretty hot. It's about a little over 100 degrees. Which, if you're butt naked, is pretty bad. I don't even want to imagine how red my skin is right now. But after we get everything refilled, another night passes pretty uneventfully. The next morning, first thing I do, I'm starting to upgrade the base.
A gentleman who goes by the name Upgrade, which he spells thusly.
As you can tell with this bad luck perk, constructing anything is kind of a hassle. I consistently fail when I'm constructing it. I waste a lot of materials, which again is really funny considering the fact that I used to do this for a living. Failing again. Husky training and harvesting continues. first probably major piece of bad news, sickness-wise, other than the flu happens. I catch gut worms. Not a fatal illness, but it is very annoying. Usually it lasts a very long time, and unfortunately I really don't have the medicine to spare to properly treat myself. I do have to set myself to the doctor really quickly, even though I apparently hate doing it, and tend myself for gut worms with no medicine, which I would imagine would look something akin to probably swallowing rocks or something and hoping it crushes them. I really have no idea. And then Randy immediately follows this news of gut worms up with the flash storm, which usually isn't a big deal except for the fact that half of my base is made out of wood. I really regret not using some of those materials to upgrade everything, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Some of the fires are pretty close. Some of the fires are really close now. But again, I'm not really going to worry about it too much. I'm not going to try to put the fires out. They actually catch them on fire. My next step, I'm trying to not have to scavenge so much. I would like to get a couple of farms going. As to why I thought trying to start a farm in the middle of a giant raging forest fire was a good idea, I'll never know. Looks like these huskies are probably going to let themselves get sorted out because one of them somehow managed to get burned from fire. I have no idea how, and for whatever reason, me being the absolute 300 IQ genius that I am, I decide to eat a meal right next to a raging forest fire. Really glad that fire didn't spread to me and catch me on fire, because that potentially could have ended my playthrough. I mean, no lie. But I guess I was pretty lucky that time. I really should have paid more attention to it. In a way, this forest fire was kind of good, except for the fact that okay, alright, all three of my huskies caught on fire, alright. And with the exception of the raging forest fire that's going on around me, Dominic, myself, and the three remaining huskies safely spend the night inside. And thank you so much for watching. I think that's going to be it for this episode. I don't know. I'm going to try to do a new episode every week. Honestly, video editing took a lot longer than I thought it would. And I have to play the game as well. But I'm going to try to keep the videos to be about 15 minutes and do one every week. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I will do my best to facilitate that.